got to start off with the big breaking news that came out by Jacob Steinberg. He's reported that Man United have decided to sack Erik ten Hag after the FA Cup final. Now, this is massive news because people, it's been a lot of will he go, won't he? It's been a lot of Man United been talking to this manager, that manager, all the managers under the sun. But at the end of every kind of report is that's if they choose to sack Ten Hag. That is if Erik ten Hag leaves Manchester United. This is now the second journalist to have come out and said verbatim that Man United will sack Erik ten Hag. DiMarzio said it, I think, earlier in the week or last week. Now you've got Jacob Steinberg, a British-based journalist, coming out and saying the day before FA Cup final, his reputation on the line. You can't make this statement. You can't come out and say this statement without it being true because your credibility as a journalist is on the line. But Stuffy, it is looking like Ten Hag is out the door, regardless if he wins the FA Cup. How do you feel?
Bro, let me just say something about Jacob Steinberg. First of all, he's a pussy. I'll tell you why. Because to come out 24 hours before the FA Cup final to say that, that's some nasty work. Don't get me wrong. I like the news, but he's still a pussy for that. Secondly, you know when you look in the sky and you just see it's mad cloudy and gloomy and it's about to rain and you're like, yo, KJ, I don't know if you should say this, but in about an hour, I think it's going to rain. Duh, it's obvious. Like, I think him coming out to say this is just pure greed. He wants to be the first one to come out and say it. So when it actually does happen, he builds up some credibility. And he's like, remember, I was the first one to say it. Let's be honest, bro. I think most of us seen this coming. I think most of us, we've spoken about this for weeks now. No way Ineos and everyone they hired, so including obviously Sir Jim with Sir Dave and what's his name, Omar Barada and Wilcox and Dan Ashworth and all these people that we praised for all the work that they've been done in football. No way any of us looked at them and we were like, you know what, these guys are mugs. They're probably going to keep him anyways, regardless if he wins the FA Cup. I don't think anyone saw it that way because our season is not defined on a one-off game against Man City in a cup competition. Let's be honest. If Ten Hag would have finished the season trophyless, but he was playing decent football, and he's like, okay, he's slightly, he competed for the league. He just like he did decent in Europe, this and that. We'd have a different conversation. But we're not. That's not the conversation we're having. The football has been so bad this year. That league position, we finished 8th on 58 points, I think. Only 2 points off our worst season, which was the one under Ranić and Oli season, which is like 2 years ago, something like that. Finishing 8th, the worst rank we ever had in Premier League history. Finished bottom of our group in Europe. Finished completely outside of Europe in the league. And the only hope for us to get to Europe is if we beat City in the cup. So many things. I could sit here and list all the things. 14 defeats, the most we ever had this season. -1 goal difference, the worst goal difference we ever had. There's a list, bro. I could sit here and just bore everyone with the list. All this should have already told you that regardless of what happens in the FA Cup final, he should be sacked. I wasn't going to sack him because he lost the FA Cup final. Same reason I wouldn't want him to keep the job because he won the FA Cup final. The writing was on the wall, KJ. That's what I'm trying to say. Everyone, including United fans and rivals, should have known that no matter what happens, he needs to go. So whatever happens on the weekend, to me, is a bonus. If we win the FA Cup, listen, I'm going to personally thank him. I know people always say I'm harsh on him and this and that. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes I am harsh on him, but I'm a football fan at the end of the day. Emotions are involved when I speak about my team and all the employees in my club. However, if he wins me a FA Cup on the way out, I'm going to salute him. I'll be like, listen, thank you. Just shut the door behind you, and I'm going to remember you for 2 good things, that you gave me 2 trophies. I'm going to thank him for that. Same thing we did with LVG. We all felt bad for LVG. But we understood why he got sacked. We said, thank you for the FA Cup, but you got to go. This guy's actually worse than LVG. So if we give LVG that treatment, we 100% better give this guy this treatment. And this is where I stand, bro. So Ten Hag, you won't be missed, bro. And as I said earlier, Troops' channel, I'll say it here, إلى مزبلة التاريخ. And I'm not going to translate what that means.
Yeah, I might have to go Google Translate just to find out myself. Dan, You're obviously not a direct rival of Man United. You're always a hater though, because you are, not a Man United fan, and everyone hates us anyway. But from the outside looking in as a neutral, what do you think this is the right move from Ineos and Sir Jim to make going forward in this new era of Manchester United, is to get rid of Erik ten Hag?
I think ultimately it's the right decision. Like based on where you finished 8th in the league, Staffy's just listed a whole abundance of reasons why, and I agree. Like it's the right decision. However, I think they should have just kept their cards a little bit closer to their chests. If this leak is coming from somewhere, if Steinberg hasn't just pulled it out of his ass and guessed, because like we said, the writing's been on the wall. If it's actually come from a source inside the club, then that's poor. Because what does this do for the team? What does this do for the manager's motivation going into a cup final? The chances, as I said in the group chat, it was very unlikely for Man United to win. But there's always that Man United shithouse chance. Do you know what I mean? That you could just pull it off, and that chance has now shrunk, because going into that, you're 10, no matter what, you ain't keeping your job. You're getting sacked. Your mind's already focused on what's next, what's after. The players are already thinking about, okay, who's the next guy? Am I still going to be here? Am I going to be in the club's plans? So that's the mistake for me, is them not keeping it closer to their chest. But yeah, ultimately, to have the club have been talking about managers all this time, or looking at managers, just do it. None of this. Will they, won't they? Maybe we should keep him. If you're already thinking about possibly sacking him, just sack him. Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe are in new era, fresh start, new manager. But that appointment has to be right, which we'll obviously talk about in a bit, because a lot of the names that I've been seeing linked with your club, I don't know if you're going to get it right. And that's the worry. That is the worry.
Yeah, like for me, it's what's needed to be done in terms of he has to go. He needs to go, and it's not because I think he's a terrible coach. I've said many a time I think he'll go somewhere else and absolutely bang. Like if he went to Bayern, he would do well at Bayern. If he goes back to Holland, he would do well there. Maybe do well at like Italy or France or somewhere. What he was trying to do at Man United, what he was trying to do in England, wasn't it, and wasn't good enough to be sustainable for us to win trophies at the biggest end of the scale. We might win an FA Cup, but we want to win the Champions League. We want to win the Premier League. So that's the aim that we're going for. In terms of all right, listen, stuff is right. Steinberg, that's nasty work. The day before final is crazy, absolutely insane to release that news. And like I said at the start of the show, if this is wrong and they end up keeping him for whatever reason, his reputation is finished. He's done. Because you can't be like hey, listen, loads of people get reports wrong. That's fine. People get fed wrong information, or things changed miraculously, and then boom, like the story changes. That's fine. But the way you've done it, releasing it before final, knowing that Man United have been trying to keep them quiet for the entire week because they are trying to focus on the FA Cup final and just let things play out, that is nasty work, as Steffi said. Nasty work. So
it's a nasty world out there.
It is. It's a cold world. It's a cold.
What is that
world.
video? What was the rapper? Who was the rapper that said that there was that famous meme? It's an evil world out there. I forgot what it is. I need to go look at it again. Yeah. That's what it is, bro. Cool. It's an evil world, bro. Everyone's just trying to do what's good for them, and that's what he did, bro. And if he gets it wrong, go ahead.
Yeah. What I will say though is people. There's a lot of Man United fans who are still Erik ten Hag in, which is their prerogative, and they believe that he should be given another year. And one of the lines I've been hearing recently from many people is, "But it's a project. We've started a project, and we need to break the cycle and complete the project. Get the players out first, and then if they're not good with a new structure, then get rid of him." But my question is this: my rebuttal to that is this: Ineos is starting their own project. Ineos did not buy Man United to continue on the Glazer projects, because at the end of the day, this project we started with the Glazers, started with Murtaugh, it started with what's his name, Arnold. That's who started this project. They've come in, and it's not like they've come into a team that's winning, and it's like, you know what, yeah, we've invested into this club. We bought 25% of this club because we want to continue on enhancing the project that's going on here. They've come here and said, whoa, 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 this is what's going on in this club is foolishness. This club is broken. So why would they continue on with a project that they don't even want to start in the beginning with? They didn't want to start this. This is not the guy they picked. This is not the people that they picked to run the club at this, when they got here. So it doesn't make any sense for them to keep Ten Hag if they don't see him as part of their project. Because it's not continuing on with the project that's going on now. It's time to start a new one. It's the Ineos project that's starting. And if they don't believe that he is the guy to do it, which, by the way, most ownerships don't. Most ownerships coming into a new club will inevitably get rid of the manager they inherit because it's not their guy. Unless it's Pep. Pep and Klopp are probably the two only men that you would inherit and be like, okay, let's keep the ball rolling. But it's not. He's not Pep. He's not Klopp. He's not shown that he's got the qualities to take us to the top. And we are going to get onto the manager credentials of all the candidates in a minute. But to sit there and say we have to continue with Ken Ten Hag because we want to break the cycle is not break. Like, the cycle's already broken because we're going to have football people making these decisions. We're going to have a total restructure from the top to bottom. We've got even the little things like staff coming back in, cleaning up the training ground, cleaning up the offices, planning a new stadium, renovating developing the area around Manchester. That's all new. We haven't seen that before. So the cycle of the Glazers running this club is broken. Now they're choosing to do it from scratch, scorch earth, start from the bottom and build up. And guess what? Many Man United fans have been screaming for that for years. Now we're actually getting it, and now they're upset. I don't understand.
Because they're scared of change, KJ. This is what people do. They're scared of change. The average person that sits here in the comments and slags us off for saying we want the manager out, I bet you that this person doesn't really have a lot of accountability in their lives. Because accountability is the hardest thing that you have to do. When you're held accountable to your own actions, regardless of the context around everything that happened, it's hard for some of these people, okay? We were not keeping the same energy when Murto left. Why did no one say, oh, but Murto deserves a chance under Ineos? Why did no one say that? What's the other guy we got rid of? Murto, Arnold. And who's the other guy? Richard Arnold. When Richard Arnold left, why did no one say, oh, but he deserves a chance under Ineos? No one said that. No one said that at all. When we're talking about hiring new directors of football, no one said Fletcher deserves another chance. No one was saying that. How come with the manager, he's the only one we're sitting there like, we know what? You know what? He deserves a second. Why? Okay, but please, someone explain to me why. Outside of sentiment and tears, because I'm tired of sentiment and tears. I don't care for tears. I'll drink your tears like KJ's drinking that water right now. Please tell me why he deserves a second chance. Because last season, when the season went well, we only credited Ten Hag. Remember that, KJ? I always found that weird, by the way. When people look at last year, they look, oh, but Ten Hag did this, this, and that. Hold on a minute. Why didn't you credit the players? Why didn't you credit the Glazers? Why didn't you credit the board? Why did Arnold not get credit? Why did Murto not get credit? Why did Fletcher not get credit? Why did not the backroom staff get credit? Why was last year all on Ten Hag, but this year it's all about everyone else but Ten Hag? Because someone explain to me why. What has Ten Hag done in this club to get defended so much by this fan base as he's been here? Bro, he's not Fergie's son, bro. I would understand if he's Fergie's son, but like, you know what? We love Fergie. We have an emotional attachment to them. I get that. But what has he given us? When people say give him time to prove what? Oh, but the injuries. Okay. Newcastle and Chelsea had more injuries than us and they finished ahead of us. Funny enough, Chelsea finished ahead of us and they sacked their manager. And I'm supposed to sit here with less injuries and a worse position and a worse season than them and say, yeah, give this manager time. Give him time for what? Can you explain to me what have you seen in 2 years that will change next year? But we had injuries. Okay, what did the injuries have to do with the stuff that we've been saying all season? I don't want to ramble on for too long, but we talked about this way too many times. I'm always on the terrace. When we talk about decisions on the pitch, Ahmad not playing and persisting with Anthony, even though Anthony's been horrible. The mistakes in the midfield, playing Casemiro as a lone pivot, not using Amrabat after he chased him all summer. all the injuries in the back line. Okay, so why were you using this player and that player? We talked about so many things throughout the season that I'm not gonna sit here and talk about them all again. Why does all that get ignored and people just say give him another season? Another season for what? Another season for what? Anyone here, if they're underperforming at their job, I'll tell you what, if KJ is doing a horrible job at the Terrace and the Terrace views are going down, the subs are not going up, the work is not good enough, people stop watching, Terry's going to have a chat with them. He's like, if you don't improve whatever you're doing, obviously I don't know exactly how you guys split the work. He's going to be like, listen, if this doesn't work, I might have to find a replacement. No one's going to be like, KJ has been here for all these years, you must keep him. No, it is a business at the end of the day. You need to understand that these clubs at the end of the day, even though it is football and we love the sport of football and we all grew up watching the football, at the end of the day, this is a business. These people are decision makers based on business models. Football itself, when you talk about improvements on the pitch, that's actually a developmental plan. That is, at the end of the day, a business plan. This is what we want our product to look like. If our product doesn't look like this and it doesn't meet the quality that we want, we will look for someone else to do it. If I underperform at my job today, KJ, they're going to have a meeting with me. They're going to be like, we're going to give you time to fix it. If you don't improve on these things, we may have to find another person. They're not going to say, Safi's been here for all these years, we must keep him. No one's going to do that, bro. They might appreciate the time that I had with them, but they'll be like, you're not good enough. You must go because it's a business at the end of the day. United fans, and I am sorry to say this. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm going to say it anyways. Some of them lack critical thinking. When they sit there and they think about how can we fix this, it's too hard for them to think. They don't want to look for the hard solution. They always want to look for the easy solution. This is why when you sit here, they don't want to talk about how do we fix things. Let's just stick to what we have and maybe it will work. No one will give you a real reason why Ten Hag can turn it around because there's zero examples out there where managers have gotten it this bad and they've turned it around. So none of them want to think deep enough to say this is how we should fix it. So they want to go with the lazy solution. And this is why this club has been shit for the past 10 years, bro. And I'm tired of being shit for 10 years. I don't want to be shit for another 10 years. I want these people who came in to work on their new project to do something. Someone banned this Chelsean guy in the chat because I see what he just commented there.